What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Fight Predictions in the building, and I love this fight week, man. A big fight week like this where I get to break down multiple fights. But yeah, man, we're on one of the biggest bantamweight fights on this card, man. Thomas Almeida versus Sean O'Malley. It's a really fun fight to break down. Both guys are coming off losses. Both guys are looking for redemption, and it's a good fight. So let's look at the stats. Thomas comes in 22-4. Fights out of Brazil. Actually, he's fighting out of, it says that fighting out of Houston, Texas. Never mind. Age 29, height 5'7", and a reach is 72.5. Sean is 12-1. As much as he says he's 12-0, he's 12-1. Fights out of Arizona, age 26, a height of 5'11", and a reach of 72. So reach is not a big factor in this. Actually, Almeida has a bit of a reach advantage in this matchup. So that will be interesting to see. Obviously, height will be on Sean O'Malley's side. So it depends on how he uses his height. But yeah, if we look at Almeida, man, it's really, I love this. What makes this fight really interesting is both guys are kind of in the same spot a while back. More Almeida was more in Sean's spot a while back. But if anyone remembers, man, when he had knocked out Brad Pickett and then knocked out Anthony Burchak, right? That was crazy. He had this legitimate hype about him. Then he has a fight night main event with Cody Garbrandt, and Cody Garbrandt knocks him the fuck out. Then he has somewhat of a comeback performance against Albert Morales, and then he's on a 3-fight skid against Jimmy Rivera, Rob Font. Those two guys are really good fighters, so I kind of give him an excuse for that. Then Jonathan Martinez. So I picked Martinez to beat him, and I have a lot of respect for Martinez, and I think Martinez is a good fighter. I will say that. And I didn't give him a pass for the Martinez loss, but I was like, I understand Martinez, in my humble opinion, is the future. But after what happened to him against Davey Grant, dealing with that knockout, you got to be honest, man. That Martinez loss doesn't look too good. And in that fight, he just had a hard time, getting his combos in there without getting hit. Basically, he was very scared, and that was just something that's very concerning going into this matchup. But if we look at Sean and his, last few fights, he's done an interesting thing. He had his fight with Andre Sukumta, right, and he had his, contender series victory over Alfred Kazakhstan. I think that's how you say his name, right? So, and then he had his situations with Jose Alberto Quinones, and he got it done, man. He got it done in a big way. That was, beautiful. Like the body to the head, man. That was a really, really good fight for him. Then knocks out Eddie Wineland. Massive knockout. Gets super main event attraction. And, people are talking about him a lot. And then he gets a fight with Marlon Vera. Marlon Vera is a good fighter, in my humble opinion. I think he's tough. He's durable. Do I think he's going to be a world champion? No, I do not think that. But I think he gives guys fits. He'll give a lot of top guys problems. He's not an easy fight for anybody, but he's beatable, obviously. And, we saw in the Jose Aldo fight, a legend of the game, man. And Aldo had to grapple to win that fight, But with Marlon Vera, he's a tough guy. And all the bullshit Sean tried to throw at him wasn't going to work. That was a fight I was actually genuinely scared for Sean O'Malley. I remember predicting that. I went with Sean, but I went with decision. I didn't think he was going to knock him out. I was like, that guy's too tough. He's been through too much shit. Immigrant mentality to 100. His daughters and his, situation in his family. Like, that guy fights for a lot of shit, man. And he fights hard. And he's not a pussy, And that's the thing. He's not a pussy. And the thing with Sean is, I think with Sean, some of the things that got exposed in there is his heart. And what happens when things go wrong. How do you react? You see this with a lot of guys who start out in the sport, or in any sport, really. Look in wrestling. I've seen it a lot when I was wrestling. There will be guys out there that have never actually competed in a sport before, in the wrestling team, before they ever wrestled, right? So they don't, sometimes they were, grew up a little coddled, or they were soft growing up, and they go into a sport and you're supposed to be tough, right? And then sometimes they don't end up being tough. They kind of bitch out. Does that follow you for the rest of your life? Sometimes it does, but sometimes you grow from that. I've seen guys on my wrestling team grow from being guys that were soft, right, and ended up being really, really tough at the end, and achieving really good goals. And that's something I want to. It's a question I'm wondering about Sean, is that I don't think Sean ever participated in any sport besides MMA. I don't think he did anything in high school. I think he was just a guy that smoked a lot of weed, and probably ended up going into an MMA gym and started sparring and stuff like that. I think he was a guy that you know never really went through real adversity. He's had fights where he's lost amateur fights. I've seen those, and he's basically quit. But he's still young. He's a young guy. He's not that old. Like, how old is Sean? Actually, let me look. Yeah, he's 26. Like he's a kid in this game, man. Like, obviously he's older than me, but like he's a kid in this game. So I think with the situations, and he doesn't have a lot of losses on his pro record. That tells you something. So with that situation, I honestly look at Sean as that this is going to either prove that he grew from moments, or he still needs to grow and needs to get tougher. That's what he'll tell me. And at this moment right now, he's not that tough. And that's how I look at this fight. Almeida, on the other hand, when I look at him, is that he's a tough guy. He's not like he's a bitch or he quits. It's just that sometimes he can't take damage. But the thing with Almeida is that he was at Sean O'Malley's spot. He knows what it means to be a hype train. He knows what it feels like when people are telling him, oh, he's going to be future champion, future top 5, this or that, future this and that. He knows what that feels like. And he's going to go in here experience. He saw the Marlon Vera fight. He saw what he has to do with that guy's legs. He saw that's a target. He's a Muay Thai fighter. What do you expect for him to do? A Muay Thai almost like style, basically, when you look at the way he fights. Sean, yeah, he throws kicks, but, it's a different kind of fighting style and striking game. It's more smooth, and it's more, it's not as stiff, and it's not as, like, trying to break you. Muay Thai, I kind of... Well, the difference between Muay Thai and, like, what Sean does, or even boxing, basically, is that Sean has a flow. There's more of a rhythm to what he does. Muay Thai is like building. You're building. You see Muay Thai fighters. Even pad work. They're building in the combinations, right? They're getting. It keeps going. It keeps going. There's a building kind of rhythm to it, where really loud shots. You'll see one guy, they'll throw a jab, and then they'll throw a right kick, a right body kick, right? And they'll build towards those combinations, and they'll go, bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, where you're just like, watch out, and they're just going nuts, right? With boxing, it's more of like a rhythm, a flow, it's like, it's just more like you're kind of going with the flow instead of you're trying to build towards something, and that's, I think Thomas is going to have to build in this fight, build combinations, and attack the leg, and build, for a finish, and you set some stuff up. Sean, on the other hand, and back to, actually, one more thing for Thomas, is that he knows this kid, and one thing he does know is this kid's not that tough. In his head, this kid's a bitch, right? If I'm in Thomas's corner, this kid's a bitch. Push him, all right? Grapple him, make it tough, make it dirty. Let him know this ain't. I'm not no fucking pushover. Now I'm not gonna let you come to my house and take my orange juice. All right, motherfucker. Even though this isn't his house, he's been here longer. He's the vet. Even though he's 29 himself, but he's gonna come out here guns blazing, and you gotta put it on this kid and make it a fight, make it dirty, right? For Sean, Thomas has been cracked a few times. He has some holes in his game. He doesn't really have a lot of head movement. He just has this guard system. That's it. He has a high guard. That's all he has. When you see him fight, that's his number one problem. He doesn't really move his head like that. And his defense is somewhat lacking. He has to work on it, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, that's just the game we live in, and I think Sean can catch him. And Sean knows it. The straight right. There's a lot of holes. The damage. Sean is younger. He's went through less damage. Thomas has went through a lot of damage. The Rob Font loss. He's went through a lot of bullshit. So this is going to be a really tough fight for Thomas, but it's just one of those fights that I think Sean is supposed to win. Even though Thomas can really win this fight, I think Sean is supposed to win this fight, and I think Sean's going to catch him. I'm going third round TKO. It's just a game. that we play. I think Thomas is tough enough to get throughout the first few rounds, but I think eventually Sean will catch him. It won't be like a drag out war. I think, there'll be some feints, there'll be some pit or pass shots, but I think Sean will wait and eventually catch him in the third round. I'm going third round finish by Sugar Sean O'Malley. I think he wants to win. He's motivated, and people are kind of hating on him, So I think he's gonna come out here guns a blazing and get the W. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's my prediction. Third round TKO. Be a Sean O'Malley. Sorry, y'all. I had a little burp inside. But yeah, I hope you guys go follow my Instagram, go follow my Twitter. All those links will be in the description down below. Subscribe, like, comment. Go click the notification button to get all my notifications for my videos. Share this video so we can get this eBay Fight Prediction Nation growing. We're like at 450, I think, or 446 or something like that. So let's keep it growing. I appreciate the support. I just want to say thank you to all my subscribers that watch my videos and stuff like that, and always giving feedback and always giving their opinions. I always appreciate people's opinions. I'm not an asshole and say these things. Sometimes I might see a dumb comment here and there, but it's okay. There's one guy that thinks Aljamain Sterling was up on the scorecards against Peter Yan and thought he was winning most of the fight. So you know what? It is what it is. That's your opinion. Say what you gotta say. Yeah, I might make fun of you, but hey, I'm not gonna take down your comment. So it is what it is. I love y'all, and I just wanted to say that. But it's your boy eBay, and I'm out.